Alright, last time we left off on the characters and the character development. Now I suppose I should talk about in the same section, the acting. Now, I have gone to see this with 5 other people 2 different times, and mixed reactions, of course. More generally, they liked it, but they did have quips with some of the acting. I personally did not think there was a whole lot to complain about. Granted, the whole premise of the movie was incredibly over the top, so the acting follows suit. This is no incredible Oscar-worthy acting here, though the characters that are quite serious and dramatic do give it their best. Anthony Head Stewart as the Repo Man really does, like I said, provide some kind of dramatic tension to the movie, and you really can feel the emotion. Shiloh Wallace, a little less so, slightly less, or slightly still, very slightly. But generally, you can still get some emotion through. She's great in the song 17. You can really feel her there. And I Didn't Know I Love You So Much is probably their best song, of course. Genetic Emancipation right follows it. And the main characters outside of that, like Jinko's Head, or Roddy, Pavi, Luigi, or Amber, generally okay acting, mixed results. Paris Hilton does not have a mass amount of acting, I will say. All she really does is kind of gyrate around sexually, and act like a spoiled brat. And ironically enough, I guess that role is suited for Paris Hilton. I mean, she does it well. I'm not really sure what to say. That's basically it. Luigi acts pissed off enough. He's pretty funny in it. Roddy is good. He does have some good songs. He does have the most emotion out of any of the side characters. And Pavi is definitely the highlight. While he doesn't really have a whole lot of character development, his character is quite the piece. He basically just goes around going like, ah, in a very femme accent. It's incredibly hilarious every single time. And his character is just a lot of fun. The Grave Robber, I think he's acted very well. Admittedly, he doesn't have a huge story presence, so all he does is sing. But when he does sing, you can tell he suits his role well. This being the co-creator of the original Repo, he knows what he's trying to get across, so it works well. And lastly, Sarah Brightman is Blind Mag. I'm not going to diss Sarah Brightman's singing, but I will say that while she does have a really good singing voice, outside of her singing, you can't really tell her emotion. She just kind of looks blankly. While she's singing, though, you can tell there's real emotion behind it. But, yeah, it's just a very odd dichotomy there. And now we come to music. The big part, of course, this being a musical and all, well, rock opera, technically. Alright, I will say it is a very different mix of music from most movies. You will not get any general music numbers. Maybe one. But in general, it's just an odd mix of rock music, metal, industrial music, and punk rock in one case. Generally, I will say the music is all fair, is all well sung in general. Unfortunately, though, there is a couple actors that do not quite have as good or great singing talents as the others. Most of them are good. I'll just go through them. Anthony Head Stewart, absolutely fantastic, easily the highlight of the movie, the Repo Man. Shiloh Wallace, good, though seemingly underused in the first half of the movie. I mean, just in general, her character as well, but good. She does the one punk song 17 during the middle. Roddy Lago is good. He can't quite hit extremely high opera notes, but that's due to a physical limitation. I'm not going to hold him down for that. For what he does give us is great. He is a very powerful, strong voice in the movie. Right next to Sarah Brightman, he can belt out actual opera notes. Luigi Largo honestly can't sing very well. He does have a very guttural voice, though, and that guttural voice does help get his anger across, but if you're actually looking at just the singing, not so much. He really does only take part in 2 songs, though, and one of them he's very minor in, so if you don't like it, you don't have to put up with it for long. And in the same song, you get Pavi, what he's a big part in, so you're at least saved there. Pavi himself is actually Nivek Ogre from Skinny Puppy or new band, Ogre. So he is a professional singer. He can sing quite well. He does not do his normal type of music here because he is doing it in the Pavi voice. So it does hinder him somewhat, but at the same time, him singing in the Pavi voice is just hilarious. It just makes it better because the Pavi voice is hilarious in and of itself. And his lyrics are particularly amusing, often talking about how he's the shit, and women love him. Anyway, getting on, the Grave Robber, another great singer. He does have a realness to him in certain parts. I do think that's purposeful, because I've listened to the stage play soundtrack, and I think that's purposeful. And if it's not either way, if it works for the scene. And he does have some great numbers, very catchy numbers, actually. And lastly, it seems almost kind of a moot point to say Sarah Brightman is a very good singer. She is somewhat underused in the movie. I felt this movie really could have been like a half hour longer. I heard they cut out lots, so maybe they could add that back in, because it's only like an hour and 39 minutes, or an hour and it's like an hour and 39 minutes. So yeah, that's really short for a musical. Usually like near 2 hours, or above 2 hours. But anyway, overall, I will say there are some great numbers here. My particular favorites being the classical Night Surgeon, heavy rock Legal Assassin by Nathan Wallace. We Started This Opera Shit, which is played by Darren Smith, actually. He's another co-founder, along with Terrence Dudich, the original stage plays I mentioned earlier, along with help from Roddy, the Jen Turn Chorus, Pavi, etc. At the Opera Tonight, an all-encompassing group piece, really great. And, this is a lot of really good songs. The movie starts out with a Genetic Repo Man, which, while not the best song in itself, really sets a horrific tone for the movie. I was quite surprised, actually. It really gets the mood across. You're like, oh, shit. Anyway, the music is great here. It is for a certain liking. If you like general musical numbers, you will probably not like these, because these are more rock-flavored. They're very heavy most of the time. And if you can't take that, you're just not going to like this. But it is good music, and you should enjoy it if you like that kind of thing. Last up, we have the costuming, sets, and CGI. Now, I will say, first off, this movie had a small budget, but you know what? I really don't even need that disclaimer, because the costuming in this movie is fantastic, to say the least. I nary have a complaint on that issue. The set's generally limited, but I do believe this happens with a lot of musicals, that their stage routes kind of limit them to a couple places. This isn't necessarily a problem, and in fact actually works for the movie, because you really don't want it to span a huge amount of area. Granted, it would be interesting to learn about the society, but we're watching a musical. We really can't expect a massive amount of depth regarding that. So, I think the sets are done well. A couple of them may be slightly bland, but overall, they're done quite well, especially the titular opera itself, which is extremely flamboyant, extremely over the top. It really just personifies the movie. And regarding the CGI, now, I was actually going this movie expecting some crap CGI, but if you look at that trailer even, that is actually some good CGI. There's not a lot of it, admittedly. They couldn't afford a lot of it. But they must have got some favor or something, because, it's no Weta, but it is quite good. It serves its purpose. It is quite nice. And you know what? It felt like a higher budget movie. I was extremely impressed in this era, too, to be honest. Anyway, in conclusion, I would say that if you like musicals, and if you like this kind of dark, somber sci-fi, this is something you should see. This is really good. It's not playing in a whole lot of places. You gotta go see it soon, but it will come out on DVD soon, so it's a good chance to pick it up. The acting is good in general. The singing, good, though could be better at times, but all extremely exhilarating. The CGI effects, costuming sets, whatever, you will not have a problem with those at all. This is not a this is a low budget movie, but it does not look it. And you know what? The story's interesting. If you like musicals, if you like rock opera, the 70s, grindhouse features, this is something you should check out. Horror, sci-fi. This is a movie that doesn't come along very often, and it's one that deserves to be checked out. It needs all your help. This is Repo, the Genetic Opera. I'm out.